Tuesday, April the 5th, 2022. And it's a glorious day to be alive today. Hope you're enjoying the day so far. We have a great show in store for you today. Today, we're talking about pressing through those difficult times, how to press through in those difficult times. Life is very challenging and life throws us curveballs more often than we would like. And sometimes we get down. Let's just admit it. We all do. In our humanity, we're broken and we're frail. And sometimes we just get down and find it difficult to press through those hard times. Even though it's difficult, doesn't mean it's impossible. So we're going to talk about ways to press through those challenging times in today's show. Again, thank you for joining me for a live episode of Midday Motivation, Life with Sharon. And please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, like the page, share the feed, and click the notification bell, as well as on Facebook. Share the feed, like the page, and we are on Full Life Communications on both Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. But we're not streaming live on Instagram, just Facebook and YouTube. But Full Life Communications on all the platforms. And again, please subscribe to the channel, share the feed, like the page, and click the notification bell. All right, let's get into the heart of the matter. Pressing through those difficult times. Life is challenging, and it brings us things that we don't expect. Some things we do expect, some things we cause on our own. All of those things are true. And regardless of which one is true at any given time in our lives, sometimes we get down, sometimes we feel anxious, sometimes we feel depressed, sometimes we feel so emotionally overwhelmed or mentally overwhelmed, even physically overwhelmed, that we just don't have it to give to ourselves, give to others, and we just don't have it. But oftentimes we deny that we don't have it. And we still try to push through and do what we can and think that we're superwoman or superman, and that doesn't exist. That's in the movies. That's not reality. All right. No one is Superman or Superwoman. So let's just get that out of our minds right there. That's non-reality. We want to live with intention in reality. And so sometimes when we don't have it, we just need to admit it. And truth be told, when we're not admitting it and we're still moving forward, trying to move forward as if nothing is wrong, as if we're still operating optimally, whatever our optimum is, we're really not giving out. You may have heard me say this on a previous show, possibly. We're really not giving out the best of us. We're giving out the rest of us. I oftentimes tell people that you don't want to give out the rest of you. You want to give out the best of you. So in order to do that, you have to replenish yourself often, because you give so much out in any given day, especially if you're a mom, if you're working, if you're a spouse, if you have friends, the many hats that you wear, you're giving out something to those other entities, those other people groups, people, individuals, and as well as situations. And so we're constantly giving out of ourselves. But what are we putting back in order to press through those difficult times? That's part of the problem. We don't replenish ourselves in order to press through the more difficult times. So how do we press through in the difficult times? One, we admit that this is a challenging time for me. And you know what? It's okay. Give yourself permission to be human. In our humanity, we are broken and we are frail and we are flawed. That's the baseline. So it's up from there. So when we stop acting, believing in our minds that we are a greater than we are, meaning that we're not flawed, because we are. The only person who's not flawed is God, and we are not that. So from the baseline, we are flawed, broken, frail human beings. So it's up from there. So starting with that, now I can give myself permission to be human. But now here's the other caveat with that. In being human and admitting our humanity, and right now I'm just going through a difficult time, I'm just not able to operate at my optimal best, and because of whatever I'm going through, whatever circumstances have come my way, and I'm admitting it and I'm okay with it, and I'm having my moment, and that's fine. But here's the key: have your moment, but don't stay there. That's the key. We're all entitled to our moments, and they come many times throughout life. It's not just a one and done, have that moment when I was 20, when I was 30, when I was 10. No, we're going to have moments often through life. Again, because life brings us things that we don't expect. And we call some things fine, whatever the case may be. But we can admit that I'm having one of those moments and I'm going to allow myself to have this moment, but I'm not going to live here. So when you have those moments, what should you do? You should be mindful of how you're sleeping, meaning the type of sleep that you're getting, if it's restless, or if you can't sleep. So if you're having some sleep problems, you want to check out what your atmosphere is like. Are you making it conducive for sleep prior to bed? Are you on your phone, tablet, or some type of device prior to bed? Then that's going to help you to not sleep. Research has already proven that. So you should put down your device at minimum an hour before you go to bed. So your mind and what that blue light is doing from the device is doing to us internally, especially through our eyes and how it's affecting us, it can allow us to bring it down, so to speak, and get in a place where our mind can rest that is conducive for sleeping. Because when we're on a device, the mind is not resting. Our eyes are not resting. It's focusing on whatever it's focusing on, the video or the article or whatever the case may be, and how the blue light is affecting our eyes. And it really does have an impact on our sleep. So be mindful of what you're doing prior to bed, setting an atmosphere conducive for sleeping in your home and in your bedroom and everywhere in your house. Actually, is hopefully is a place of peace for you. So it's calm, it's tranquil. And then monitor what your thoughts are like and what your emotions are like prior to bed, because there could be something going on, whatever may be stressing you. And so your thoughts, you're constantly worrying possibly or ruminating over something that's been bothering you. And so your thoughts are keeping you awake. Also, too, how we feel can keep us awake if we're anxious about something. And that's why our thoughts are more toward anxiety, because we're feeling anxious, and both are playing off of one another. So what are you worried about? What thoughts are you having? Are your thoughts racing? So how are your thoughts and your emotions keeping you up at night? You may want to do some journaling so you can figure that out. What has transpired during the course of the day that I might be worried about, or what situation is going on in my life right now that I might be worried about, I might be concerned about, that might be keeping you up. So as you're discerning what's going on and journaling about it, possibly seeking counseling if it's too overwhelming in your life, now we can understand and know what to do with what's bothering you with your sleep. Now, if you know what to do with it, now you can do something about it because you determine what's going on. So determine what's going on with your sleep. Try to rectify it as you can with some things that you can do at home. And if not, you can seek counseling if it's a more overwhelming issue. Also, get rest. Rest and sleep are two different things. And so you can meditate, you can pray, you can have quiet time, listening to affirmations or stating your own affirmations or scriptures like I like to do, as well as affirmations, and therefore, as well as deep breathing. Don't want to forget about that. Deep breathing is very good to help calm you down, to help you center yourself, and to just be in a more relaxed state. So to rest, you want to take a few minutes out of each day. It doesn't take a long time, but especially during, say, those transition times from work to home or doing some other activity. You just want to relax, do some deep breathing, affirm yourself with affirmations, scriptures, and just breathe, deep breathing, and just give yourself a few moments. I'm closing my eyes because that's what I do when I'm taking my quiet time. You close your eyes and you just center yourself. So now you can move on to the next, and you've taken that time, and it really does help. You can do that anywhere and many times throughout the day because it doesn't take a lot, and you don't have to have a lot of set aside time to do that. So those are two things. Be aware of how you're sleeping, and getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night is not enough. You may have trained yourself to do that, but it's not enough. And that's problematic. And so that might be interfering with how you're pressing through the difficult times. Get some rest by taking quiet time, centering yourself, listening to calming, relaxing music. Also, nature sounds are really popular. I like to listen to water sounds. I have fountains in certain places, so therefore I can hear the trickling of water. Whatever works for you, candles, whatever works for you. Take that quiet time, deep breathe, Affirm yourself with affirmations and scriptures, and take moments throughout the day for rest. Participate in activities of interest to you. Now, sometimes when you're pressing through and you're feeling more on the sad or depressed side, going out and doing things like that is not something that's feasible. But there are things that you can do alone at home in the house. What do you like doing? Some people like knitting, some people like crafting, some people like collecting different things, some people like reading or watching TV. Whatever it is that you would like to do, take that moment for yourself in that downtime, because now it's like, okay, I'm just doing me. I'm doing something, brainless, so to speak, and it's helping me to gather myself. So you want to be able to pour back in. Sometimes pouring back in is just doing nothing because you do so much. And then when you're doing the affirmations and when you're praying and you're seeking the Lord and you're doing other things like that, you're putting back in, you're replenishing, you're rejuvenating. All of these things are replenishing. So oftentimes we need a reset. I'm in a reset period right now because things were just so emotionally overwhelming for me last year. I had to take a step back, and yes, the therapist does have to take a step back. And also the therapist has to seek therapy sometimes as well. We're all experiencing the same thing, maybe at different times, but life is no different. Life is life. We're all in the situation that we've been in the past couple of years with what's going on with sickness and disease, right? And so we were all experiencing it. We're experiencing it in different ways, but many of us are experiencing it in similar ways, and we haven't been here before, and it's taking a toll on us. That is a fact. But what are we doing to rectify that? Because we do have power and control, and we can take that control that we have as opposed to just giving into what has happened. And now I'm just here. Whatever happens, just happens. No, you can take control of that. Yes, that has happened, but what am I going to do while I'm in it? It shook me for a moment, but we've been here for a little while. This is over 2 years now. But you know what? I'm understanding what's going on a little bit better and where I can maneuver and where I can't within this situation. And now I'm going to take the controls that I can. I had my moment, but now I'm getting up from that moment. And that's okay. Again, don't deny that you're having a moment, whether you're feeling depressed, whether you're feeling anxious, whether you're dealing with some sort of trauma. And if you are feeling too overwhelmed to handle things yourself, seek counseling. It will benefit you. And I'm here, just want to make sure I make this disclaimer. I'm sharing information with you and education. I am not your therapist. I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist. You have to seek specific advice from a therapist that you have who knows your situation intricately. I'm just sharing information that may be able to assist with some tips along the way. But don't be too prideful to reach out to seek counseling for those things that you really know you haven't managed that well, and you may need professional advice in order to manage them successfully. Let's just put it that way. So some other things regarding self-care, and when I was talking about resting and sleeping, that's all a part of self-care. So whatever things that you like to do is a part of self-care. When you take care of you in different ways, that's a part of self-care because you're adding back into you. You're replenishing yourself because you're still going to have to give out. Every day you live, you're giving out something. So make sure you take care of yourself and replenish yourself, rejuvenate and reset. Do some things that you like. Make sure that you take time for yourself to rest and get the proper sleep, as well as enjoying friendships, calling a friend, laughing, enjoying one another's company, or in a phone call. Laughter is medicine for the soul. Try to laugh every single day. You will enjoy laughing, and you will see how it just makes the moment better when you can laugh. And sometimes we just have to laugh at ourselves. I know I do. So when we can do that, the time goes by better and we don't seem as stressed and as overwhelmed when we can laugh at something, or even at ourselves. Watch a funny movie, right? If you have a friend who you know is just that funny person, call that person up. Just, you know what I mean? So the two of you can talk, and then you'll get a laugh, and in that moment, you have forgotten about what's going on around you. Now, it's not like it doesn't exist. It's just that you've taken time out to put that to the side for a moment and take a breather and just relax and rest. It's okay. It's what we should be doing as human beings to keep ourselves going. And again, to be best, to give out the best and not the rest. That's what we're doing. We're giving out the rest when we don't replenish ourselves. So be mindful of that. And if you're grieving in any type of way, and grieving is just not the physical death of someone, it could be a loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of anything, we may grieve. Give yourself time to grieve and go through the process. And if, again, it's overwhelming, seek counseling through the grief process. Sometimes it's not easy, and mental and emotional things come at us in our lives. We don't really understand it. We don't really know what to do sometimes because it's difficult to manage that all the time, but it's coming out in our behavior. We think it's not really bothering us, but it is. It's coming out in our behavior because it has to, but you might not see it. Others may see it like, I wonder why Sharon's acting that way. Well, there's something going on with me mentally, emotionally. It's coming out in my behavior, whether I recognize it or not. So allow yourself to grieve if there's something to grieve over. Don't put it on the shelf because it's going to come back later. And you don't want anything to come back later. Let's just deal with it now so we can get it over with, so we can have the best of our lives as we move forward. Life is going to throw us stuff that we don't expect. Deal with it now. Don't put it on the shelf because it'll make later worse. Just deal with things as they come up. So those are just some tips on how to press through difficult times. And if you find yourself there, start doing some of these things today. Or if you're not there today, whenever it comes up, because life is going to happen and it's going to happen, remember these tips or come back and watch the videos. They're not going anywhere, and help yourself through those difficult times, because you can press through. But let's not deny our humanity. Sometimes it's challenging, and sometimes we just don't feel like it, or we just don't have it. And that's okay. The key is we don't want to stay there. We want to get back up, replenish ourselves, reset, and move on. So let me see. I see people watching. I couldn't shout you out because if you don't make a comment or on the feed, I can't see who you are. So, but thank you for watching. Those of you who are watching on a replay, thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the show. And tomorrow our topic is think, believe, become. How you think, if you believe how you think, you will become it, whether it's negative or whether it's positive. So we're going to talk about thinking, believing, and becoming. Thank you again for watching Life with Sharon, Midday Motivation. I will see you tomorrow. Have a God day.